1811 4000। यही कंज्यूमर हेल्पलाइन।
Our other top story now to the capital. Gulshan Kumar, a cement shop owner in Faridabad, is worried sick. That's because every day, very much against his wishes, he receives nearly 50 statements from ICICI Bank. Now, the problem is none of these statements belong to him. 2 months ago, he opened an account with ICICI, and since then, he's been privy to highly confidential information about 5,000 other account holders who, according to the bank's records, all apparently live at Gulshan Kumar's house in Faridabad. Amir Abdullah finds out more.
The small business owner in Faridabad receives up to 50 documents every day, all of them stamped confidential from the ICICI Bank. He has no idea why.
ये हमारे को समझ में नहीं आ रही। हमने डाकिये को भी मना करा कि हमारे नहीं है, ये कहते भैया आपके हैं। 15-15 रुपए हमने रिक्शे के भर के उसको दिए हैं हमने डाकिये को कि ये किराया दे दो, हमारे को रिक्शे पे रख के लाया था 2-2 बोरे। पूछो मत, घर वाले और परेशान हो रहे हैं कि आपने कोई क्रेडिट कार्ड वगैरह बना रखा होगा या कोई लोन शोन ले रखे हैं।
These are some of the 5,000 charges advice that Mr. Gulshan Kumar has been receiving at his shop in Faridabad. All marked confidential. Mr. Kumar is clueless as to why he's getting them and has repeatedly contacted the bank.
और ऐसे वो कह रहे हैं कि लिख के दो हमारे को, हम कहाँ से लिख के दे बताओ।
ICICI Bank issued this statement to Metro Nation. ICICI Bank has taken a serious note of this issue. We want to assure you that the matter will be investigated thoroughly. Gulshan is so nervous about possessing these letters, many of them with detailed information on other people's bank balances, that he carries them around with him in the boot of his car. He says he has enough financial headaches of his own. The last thing he needs is more. In New Delhi with Neha Khanna, Amir Abdullah for NDTV.
It must be a nightmare for Gulshan Kumar to receive 50 letters of different people every day. Absolutely. Now, Supreme Court lawyer Pinky Anand feels that strict action should be initiated in such cases.
It's actually preposterous. I just think that, if it is somebody's accounts, it is confidential information for most of us, So if it is released to a person and of such magnitude, the person knows how much money there is, what is your account number, God forbid if you have some problem with any of the tax departments, you're in for difficulty there. Aside from the fact that it's just personal, private, confidential information. So it's actually fairly disastrous. And I think it's totally contrary to any banking practice that this kind of thing can happen. So any kind of breach which leads to any action against the people whose accounts are being leaked would mean that these people can actually sue the bank for negligence, for deficiency in service, consumer protection complaints, aggravation to the consumer, mental harassment, humiliation, torture, any kind of damages that this guy suffers, including mental agony, is something that the applicants could sue for.
Well, let's take this discussion further now. Let's go across to Executive Director of Consumer Voice, Mr. Bejon Mishra, who joins us in the studio. Good evening, Mr. Mishra. Thank you for speaking to us now. Mental harassment, a lot of trouble being faced by somebody who has absolutely no clue, no involvement in this. What is happening with ICICI Bank here?
No, it definitely shows a kind of a complete collapse in terms of, the delivery mechanism. And what now we know, you see now, this is a very good evidence where customers are every day complaining to us, saying that they don't get their bank statements on time every month. And even after repeated requests by the customers to the bank in terms of non-receipt of bank statements, the banks are least bothered about to find out why they're not getting the statement. Now this is a very clear evidence of why they're not getting the statement, because it's getting into the wrong address. And firstly, we must congratulate Gulshan Kumar for at least stocking all these letters together and keeping them intact. And it is time now for ICICI to immediately go to Gulshan Kumar and take charge of those, statements right away. And of course, there is a deliberate act of negligence. It's under the provisions of the Consumer Protection Act. And this is what we have been telling the customers, that if they don't get the bank statements on time, and if they don't get it from the bank, then they can always claim compensation. But most of the customers come back saying that for a compensation of 50 rupees or 100 rupees or 200 rupees, they don't want to get into the exercise of getting into the court process. And that's very true. So what the bank should do is that whenever they hear a complaint that they have not received, the customer has not received the statement, then they should immediately compensate the consumer by giving a credit into his bank account, saying, okay, we give you 200 rupees every month for not being able to give the statement. Then the accountability process will come. Today there is no accountability process.
Right, here the customers are not receiving their bank statements. They are facing problems because of that. But what about Gulshan Kumar? He's receiving about 5,000 odd bank statements for no fault of his. Can he approach the courts and...
Well, of course he can. Of course he can. You see, but he's not a customer of ICICI. So technically...
No, he does have an account with them.
Okay, now, but what my contention is that these statements are not pertaining to his account. So the deficiency is actually, the victims are the people who are not getting the statement. Like all the list of people whose statements Gulshan Kumar is receiving, they are the victims. Okay, so they can claim compensation. But of course, Gulshan Kumar is also entitled for compensation in terms of the kind of harassment which ICICI has done on him by loading him with so many letters which doesn't belong to him.
It seems to be such a simple thing, Mr. Mishra, that, I mean, Gulshan Kumar has, he's mentioned to us, he's spoken to Metro Nation and said that he has tried to contact them and tell them that not everybody lives at his address and that they should just update their database. Why is it so difficult to simply update the database?
It is amply clear that ICICI shares these kind of information with certain agency on certain payment because of certain business reason or maybe some commercial business. But unfortunately, instead of it going to that particular agency in that particular address, it is going to Gulshan Kumar. So that is what has come out of this exercise.
So if we understand you correctly, instead of sending this database to an agency, they've sent it to Gulshan Kumar.
Which is paying some amount to ICICI for getting this kind of an information from ICICI. So there's a trade-off in terms of sharing information with certain agency, which we have been telling the regulators, RBI and the government, that many a times when we get calls, say from call centers, and we try to find out how did that call center get my mobile number or get my address or get to know my name. And this is where, you know, we are trying to tell the government that very strong action should be initiated against any company which is sharing my information, which is very confidential, with any other agency at a cost. So you can't trade with my information.
Yes, privacy and accountability as well.
Accountability. You see, so this is where, you know, it is high time now that the regulator RBI comes out with some very strong action, and we have to make sure that ICICI understands that what a serious lapse this is, and they are penalized.
Right, we'll end on that note. Thanks a lot, Mr. Mishra, for coming here to Metro Nation Studios. Well, so now we know how they get all those phone numbers and keep calling us up.
Absolutely, absolutely. Lack of privacy there. Well, now let's turn to other news, and the Delhi police is planning to arrest Congress MP from Faridabad, Avtar Singh